Hey, Stephanie Wolf here, the Whole Food Health Coach. And again, today, Caleb and I are just on our path to kind of discuss some of life's most challenging
Mm.
questions, aren't we? I mean, there's plenty of
Oh
them.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
could probably spend a lot of time on that. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different, though. I'm going to interview Caleb,
Oh boy.
and I'm excited about that because we always do this impromptu, no rehearsing. So, one of the things I thought I would ask you about, because just turning 17,
Mm.
and knowing that you've got your summer ahead of you, well, the rest of this year, your junior year, your summer ahead of you, and one more year of school. Tell me what your thoughts are about living your life to its fullest.
That's a great question. Personally, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this myself. Obviously, it's crazy that we're almost there, and it's like, and I always say like I really do look forward to the adult side of life. I've always been not trying to boost or anything, but mature, right, for my age, and so being an adult is something I've always looked forward to. Because there is a lot of stuff in my generation, stuff in people I just don't really like or don't gravitate. I almost find myself gravitating like in a good conversation to adults. So I'm really excited to kind of get in that space because I always feel like that's where I belong. But at the same time, obviously, high school is supposed to be fun. You got to live it up a little bit. But I don't know. I find some of the best experiences or the best moments, like I guess, even still now, is just like having like deep relationships with people you really care about. I've never been, and I understand a lot of high schoolers, as you probably know, find enjoyment from things that aren't so great, drinking, alcohol, drugs, all that stuff. Which I mean, I've always kind of stayed away from personally. I do have friends that do it though, and that's another story. But I don't know. I guess finding enjoyment is just doing the things I love to do, talking to people I love to talk to, being with people I just love being around, and so it's just been a mixture of just doing what I love, watching movies, writing about just life in general, being with friends, playing basketball, just some of those things I like to do on a regular basis. I don't know, they keep me going, keep my entertainment levels on par. So
I like that. I think that is a really good way of looking at life because there's that balance between having a good time and kind of deciding what a good time actually
right,
is because some people define it differently, and I appreciate the way that you defined it there. Being with people you care about
yeah,
and spending time with them, that's really what life is all about anyway. So that's the positive side of things, and that's the way to look at life. What kind of things do you avoid? Like if you were thinking about, choices that you have to make on a regular basis. Of course, you mentioned drugs, alcohol. I'm
mm-hmm.
sure there's plenty of people who you care about that kind of go down that road.
Absolutely,
And sometimes you see the consequences of that.
right.
And obviously, you see the consequences of that probably. But what kind of things do you try to avoid so that you can live life to its fullest?
I think the biggest thing for me specifically here recently is just negativity. I think it's everywhere now. It seems to be, and it seems to just be getting worse and worse. So trying to basically eliminate as much negativity as I can because it really does rub off regardless of what you think it does. Social media in particular, something I've been kind of on the fence about, going on and off and trying to stay as much away from it as possible while still kind of enjoying the good aspects of it. I think negativity is everywhere there. I think social
It's
media
true.
ruins a lot. I think a lot of the problems with today's world revolves around that.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of avoiding that, but still not completely avoiding it. Using it to its good that it does or whatever. So yeah, it's just being careful who I'm around. I've always said like surround yourself with people that challenge how you think. Um, just being around people that positive and that challenge you to be the better you can be. I think a lot of people hang out with people that don't have any positive effect on them, and honestly, if anything, they have a negative effect on. Obviously, influences everything, and But at the same time, with that said, I mean, there is a friend I'm not going to name that has problems with a lot of the things I said. I avoid alcohol, weed, or whatever. I think me being around him personally, the way I look at it is not me. It's more me influencing him than me influencing him. So trying to rub him the right way, get him doing the right things or whatever, and hopefully that works and whatnot. So I don't know. I think that's his biggest thing. Is just there's a lot of negativity specifically now, almost more than ever. Obviously, with just everything in the United States, um, it's just been rough or whatever. So just trying to keep as much positivity and focus on that, and try to eliminate negative energy.
That's really good. And I think we do have those choices on a regular basis. Sometimes we are the person who influences somebody else for the good.
Right.
I think sometimes parents try to protect their kids from all the bad elements by
Absolutely.
keeping them in a bubble. But our goal is to raise you up in the way you should go so that you can make those decisions for yourself because we can't protect you forever. We can't go with you everywhere. But when you are there, you can make the choice that really matters to you. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. Choices really do matter, like in every area of our life. And every morning we get up, we've got choices to make. And we can follow a negative path or we can follow a positive path. There's also lots of up and downs because, you know, certainly life in general just happens and it can be sad one day and then, you know, up the next day. So I think you gave some really good advice to our young people today about their own choices and things they can make. I just want to follow up with just one thought because I know that there's more suicide and some of the negative things nowadays than ever. And I think a lot of times what happens is people, young people in particularly, but people in general, it's not just young people, that see what happened today and they just don't get beyond that. And they don't think they can get beyond that. So they give up way before they could or should when they may just be making, you know, it just might be a piece of the puzzle and tomorrow will be better and things will be different because it usually is. How many people have lost everything and then got it back again? Right. You know, and there's all kinds of millionaires and billionaires who've had that story because it's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you get back up. And it's my goal to make sure that people get back up again, you know, and realize you can be around positive people who really bring out the best in you. And I think that's what I hear you saying. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes, actually I do. The way I look at it is I feel like I think there's a difference between joy and happiness. Happiness is something that isn't necessarily permanent. It's something that will be good for you in the moment, which I think is how I look at weed and alcohol. It's something that, like, yeah, sure, it might bring you happiness. It's an in the moment thing to make you happy. But I think what it does affect is joy, which is something that it's happiness over time. It's maintaining that happiness. So I think a lot of people cheat on joy with happiness. And I think absolutely those kind of things will affect joy later on in life. I mean, that stuff, regardless of, you know, I know people have their own thoughts, but like at the end of the day, like they have consequences. Like that's just, I mean, that's just fact. And so I think that's something a lot of people just don't look at because they're not thinking ahead. They live, like, I understand, you know, obviously saying live in the moment. I understand that. But, like, it's a little bit of a loose term because, like, you know, you also need to think about, like, how is it going to affect future or whatever. Because if everyone just lives in the moment, well, we'll have people like we do right now, you know? So.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very wise young man, Caleb Wolf. Well, glad you were with us today. And I hope it just brought some light into some area of your life. That's our goal anyway. And we've always got questions and we chat about the answers. We don't always have the answers, that's for sure. There's lots of answers out there.
Right.
But we're better together than we are by ourselves. So find somebody who really lifts you up and encourages you and strengthens you. And stay away from the negativity, but hang out with those people who really sow into your life and love you no matter what. I think that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Till next time, Stephanie Wolf, the Whole Food Health Coach. Out.